Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to Winsight Live. Before I kick it over to Phil Lempert, who's going to introduce our guest today, a couple of headlines that you'll see in Winsight Grocery Business this morning. One, Giant Eagle this morning has introduced the first checkout-free store in Pittsburgh in cooperation with the technology company Grabango. It's sort of a victory for computer vision over the conveyor belt as far as grocery technology goes. Second, Southeastern Grocers has announced deals to sell another 23 of its Bilo stores in South Carolina and Georgia to rivals Lowe's Foods and B&T Foods. Finally, Walmart this morning introduced its long-awaited Walmart Plus paid loyalty program, saying the program will offer advantages to paid members, including free unlimited deliveries, gasoline discounts, and use of a shop and scan feature in stores. Now over to you, Phil.
Sure. Thanks, John. I'm really curious as we're hearing these headlines almost on a daily basis of people who are putting in the contactless payment, the scan and go, all this other stuff. What's going to happen? And maybe Jen, you can answer this better than anybody else because you're constantly in touch with UFCW. What's going to happen to all these cashiers?
Right. It remains to be seen. It certainly seems to be the trend. And also in the news today is that Whole Foods has opened its first permanent online only delivery store in Brooklyn, New York. So Amazon's definitely leading the charge on that.
Yep. So back to more of a reality, more back to humanistic, instead of contactless payments and stuff like that. We've got a very special guest today, Layla Kasha, who's the Chief Marketing Officer at Grocery Outlet, a chain that I've been close to for a number of years. Probably one of the most successful, if not the most successful IPO that we've seen, not only in our industry, but every industry in a long time. Layla, I've called you this before, and I hate to do it again. You are PK. You're the puppet killer. I used to love those commercials that had, those goofy Sesame Street-like, puppets. You come on board, you kill the puppets, you help bring them an IPO. You've now doubled or tripled the amount of stores. So I guess I'm wrong. I can't call you puppet killer anymore. You're kingmaker for Grocery Outlets. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Phil. And I will just tell you, you are the only person in the world that can call me PK. So you can keep calling me that if you want. That's all right.
Thank you. So to more serious things, you're a grocery retailer. You have had to live through a pandemic. Your operators have had to live through a pandemic. What are some of the things that have been outstanding for you trying to be a grocer during this period of time?
So I would definitely say anyone who says, we've been through something like this before is wrong. We've never been through anything like this before. And very early on, everyone kept trying to relate it to something else. And it's like, no, this is a once in a lifetime deal. And I hope we never see it again. But I think one of the best things that we had going for us were our operators, because they are really embedded in their communities. They love their neighbors. They want to do everything that they can to make their town a better place. And so for us, the game changer was our operators. So they were very well connected. They were using social media in a way that no other, grocery retailer really was. They were walking their stores every morning at a set time, for example. So we had Jason and Pleasant Hill, and all of them did something to this effect. And everyone did something unique to them. So some people weren't comfortable on Facebook Live. So maybe they took a bunch of photos as their trucks were coming in and posted those and said, here now, limited supply. Here's what I have. So they would do that, and so Jason would video his truck getting unloaded every morning as the truck would come in.
I've watched the video with him walking around with his mask and, videotaping so people knew what was in the store.
And so he like became famous in his town. So at a store that maybe you went to once a month because you wanted to see what was in there and have that treasure hunt experience, they became the daily shop because they were letting people know, I have this. You weren't having, you know, the panic of COVID as a consumer, I was feeling it as a consumer, which was, geez, I don't know who has toilet paper. I don't know who decided toilet paper was going to be the thing we weren't going to be able to get, but it was and so I was like, I don't know where I can go get it. And the idea of having to go to 3 or 4 places and go in and expose yourself, you know, early on, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how, you know, it was early days. And so the ability for people to connect and say, do you have sugar today? Do you have flour? What, you know, do you have this? And having that live interaction was absolutely priceless. And so everyone did it in their own way. Social media became very, very critical for us. And I started a little over 3 years ago, and I'm big on social media. I like to use social media. It's an effective tool. It gets where you need to go. Going live is one of the best things on Facebook. And so our operators were really well versed on that because I've been talking about it for 3 years. And so when this happened, it was like perfect, you know, perfect storm.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to throw it to you, John.
Well, let's keep it on your operators. I think, you know, first of all, Layla, thrilled that you came on with us today. Really fascinating company. And one of the reasons I say so is because your stores often are run by independent operators, often not just a guy, but a family, a husband and wife team. And I wonder if you can kind of talk about that arrangement, which I think has benefits for you in a couple of different areas, right? You know, one for the community, but also there's a business case for it too. I wonder if you can talk about that.
Absolutely. So we love to say, you know, we love having be a part of the American dream. We love that people get to have the family business that they always wanted, have the freedom and independence to run that business the way that they want. And really, every operator does it differently. Every operator comes in with a really strong skill set here and not so strong over here, and that's the need to develop, but everyone's skill set looks different. And so they get to lean in where they know, and they get to learn and close gaps in a different way than any other place. There's no checklist. There's no, you know, you have to do it our way. You have to merchandise your end caps this way. You have to carry this product. We don't have that. And so people that have an entrepreneurial style and really love to do it their way and have the skills get to go to work with their wife, their kids, their husband, their uncle. We have brother, sisters, we have father, sons, we have lots of different partnerships in that operator community, and it works. Some of our favorite operators don't look like what you would see in any other independently owned business. And we love that. We love the diversity. We love how that ends up showing up in the community. It's really amazing.
So Layla, you know, talking about the operators some more, I know that, you know, many of them come to Grocery Outlet with chain store experience. Are there things that they need to unlearn, or, you know, is there a transition of going from that kind of the old way to the Grocery Outlet way?
I think so, just like you would expect. And I'll talk about it from the marketing perspective, because this is one of my things. When I interview, so you might not know this, I know Phil does. When people apply to become an AOT, which is an aspiring operator in training, they interview with almost every exec. So we all get at least 30 minutes to meet with them, talk to them, find out, you know, what makes them tick, and if we think they'll be a good culture fit. Because ultimately, experience is great, but the fit of being a part of this family is really, really important. It's the soft skills, it's the things you can't measure on a chart, right? And so marketing is something that most people that work as a store manager in a box chain haven't done, because corporate enterprise level does all your marketing. So they're all going to come in with some level of gap there. And we get lucky. Some of them are really, really good at their own social media and they like doing it. And so that's an easy lean. But there's always going to be stuff that they may not know. And I think what's great about Grocery Outlet in general is there are so many people in the network that will lean in and help you where your gap is. So some people might have a gap in scheduling, or some people might have it in ordering, some people might have it in, a lot of people might have it in marketing, right? And so we've got all these experts, including grocery outlet corporate people that will come in and help you close those gaps. But really, it is about the passion for what you do and that desire to be independent and entrepreneurial that it's the driving force for our operators.
And Layla, you've talked a lot about, the unique characteristics of your operating partner teams that bring their own skill sets, and even Jason, who is great at doing the Facebook Lives. But kind of, in a broader aspect, are there any characteristics that your top performing stores share?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you look at them all, they are mavericks. They want to do things independently. They want to think a little bit differently. They don't like being told they have to do a schedule a certain way, an end cap a certain way. They want freedom. And that is the number one thing, I think, when you look at our operators across the board. And when you talk to them, they will tell you the thing they love the most is their ability to run their business the way they want. And I think that's a critical, if you want to kind of follow the leader, it won't be a good fit. You're gonna need, you want somebody to tell you exactly step by step how to do something. Probably the biggest deal killer for you is like, you're going to get there and there's not going to be somebody telling you have to get to your store at 6 a.m. because that's what your schedule says. You're going to get there at 4 a.m. because you've got a truck coming today and you've got a ton going on and you need to get in there early. And so that passion for innovation and independence is really like the key, the thread that ties all of our operators together.
John?
Oh, you're on mute, John.
There we go. I'm better now. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Hey, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the company aspect of things rather than the operators. You buy all your own goods, which the operators then sell at their stores. Your officials have really talked about how disruption in the supply chain that kind of came with COVID kind of favored the opportunistic buying strengths that goes back really to the company's founding. I'm wondering if one, you can talk a little bit about that and maybe point to some specific examples, that our listeners might learn a little bit more about.
Yeah, so we definitely have a unique buying model. And I think that, one of the things that really helped us during the pandemic is that we still have our operators still order what they want. So it wasn't like an autofill or when you're running low, they simply picked up the phone and said, I need more toilet paper. I need more eggs. This is what I need. Get it to me. And so we were able to fulfill and restock a lot faster than a lot of the national chains, which really was a benefit to these communities, to these operators, to everyone that was shopping. But as far as opportunistic buying, so, opportunistic buying represents about 1% of all the product that's out there. But it is things like package changes and overruns and short-coded sometimes and canceled orders. So like Costco cancels an order, Walmart cancels an order, we pick it up. So during COVID, that morphed into more of showing us restaurants and airlines and all the places that all of a sudden were shuttered and had all this product either coming to them or suppliers had made for them and they had nowhere to go. And so we were selling a ton of that stuff, a ton of pre-packed, like gyms. Gyms had we had kombucha, like it was going out of style because it was all destined for gyms, right? And so the ability to help the suppliers move that product quickly, take that product for them, and also the ability to, as restaurants were closed and gyms were closed, home consumption went way up. And so the supply chain was just kind of wonky there for a minute. And so our ability to kind of gather up all that product and sell it was really, I think, helpful to everyone involved, the operators, the shopper, and the supplier.
So Layla, of course, another, side effect of COVID has been economic unease, as there are a lot of people who are laid off, a lot of people who've lost their jobs, and everything is just so uncertain right now. But then as a value-priced leader, one would assume that you would do well in times of recession. Now, what are you predicting for the near future in terms of how the economy might impact grocery outlets business?
So that's a great question. So no one knows anything. Like, I'm not certain on anything right now, but what I do know is the shopper is prioritizing value because of the uncertainty. And so you're seeing people really put focus on how to stretch their dollar, how to make it last longer. And so we do see shoppers benefit from that. And so we're really a resource or a tool for our shoppers to be able to make that budget meet every single time, every single week with great brand name product. I mean, that's the difference, right? When you look at us next to other discounters, yeah, you can get, mac and cheese, but it's a plain box and you don't know, and it's not the brand your family loves, but you can get the blue box mac and cheese or your favorite brand mac and cheese at Grocery Outlet for a great price. And so as shoppers prioritize value in recessions, we do well during those times, and so we are anchoring and gearing up for that right now. I think it's inevitable to some degree at this point with the economy, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to your point, Layla, grocery is performing well right now. And Phil referenced your excellent IPO that you had. So Grocery Outlet is growing and is growing exponentially. But how are you able to, what aspects have you put into place to kind of, control the growth so it's a nice sustainable something that can continue on for years and years, and you're not going to go huge and too quickly?
Yeah, I think that's the trick, right? I think the beautiful thing about Grocery Outlet, no matter what's happening, even during the IPO, heads were down and we were working on the real business. So IPOs are fun, and I get to work in like one of the most fun departments in any company. I always think marketing is the most fun, and we get to take the most we get to have the most creative conversations with people, and we get to think outside the box, and I love that. But I think Grocery Outlet does a really good job of keeping our heads down and keeping to the work. And I think that is what will get us. We are very consistent. We deliver consistently what we say. And so I think that having a leader at the top like Eric Lindbergh, who says, the number one job for us is to do the right thing and to touch lives for the better. It's our company mission. Touching lives for the better is our company's mission. And so we live that every single day. And that means we need to be steady, and we need to hold the course. So that's what we do.
So Layla, you, Eric, and I recently had a discussion about growth, just to build on what Kat said. And, I asked something very similar to Kat. I asked, when are you going to be national and things like that? And the only thing that Eric and you told me is that you're going to continue to grow, and you see probably decades of growth ahead, that, you're not going to be limited to 400 stores or 500 stores, but you're just going to keep on going with them. I'd like to peel back the curtain a little bit and have you look into your crystal ball. The first time that I went to the Emeryville store, very bare bones store, and this goes back 25 years ago when I lived in Northern California. Very bare bones store. Yes, there were major brands there, not very fancy. I go into a grocery outlet now and I go, wow, to steal one of your expressions for the wow deals, but I see produce, I see lots of great food. I see a whole different design than bare bones. It doesn't look like a bare bones store at all. It looks more like a combination Trader Joe's and gourmet store that happens to sell Kraft macaroni and cheese at 19 cents a box, or whatever the price is these days. What are some of the other things that you guys are thinking about? Are we going to see more deli products? Are we going to see more prepared foods? Are we going to see in-store dining? Are we going to see butchers? What can you share with us about the next evolution of what a grocery outlet experience looks like?
So what I would say to that is, I love that you think I have a crystal ball. First of all, I don't. I think that what I would say is we go where the shopper wants us to go. So when the shopper wants something and we can deliver it for a value, we will do it. I think that is the most important thing, that as retailers look at what to do next and how to innovate, is really listening to your shopper. I think that's a key thing that we do well. and we deliver what they want and as best we can within the footprint of value. And so, yes, I do think you're going to see some cooler things. I mean, just what you described was basically the evolution of NOSH. So when you went in the beginning, we didn't have a NOSH section. So NOSH is natural, organic, specialty, healthy. That's been around for a few years now, but it really was reading the shopper and the shopper saying, I want organic, I want healthy, I want this specialty thing that I can't find anywhere else. I want almond butter, all these things that they really wanted. And then we determined, hey, there's suppliers that it's the same situation, whether you're dealing with a specialty product or a deli product or a prepared food product. If they have somewhere they need to sell excess product, we can be that. And we might have to change the way we deliver or the way the shelf looks or how we procure the product, but we can do that because we're nimble and we can pivot. So it's really going to be what the shopper tells us they want. And that's where we're going to go. So
Well,
yeah, maybe on all of those things, maybe.
Yeah, so as a shopper, I want a grocery outlet here in Santa Monica. So listen to me.
I'm working on it.
I know you are. I know you are. So we end every segment with going to Jen, who talks about some good news in the industry. So I'm going to throw it to you, Jen, for the good news and let you run with it.
Great. Well, it's of course good news from Grocery Outlet. Layla, we'd love to hear more about your Independence from Hunger campaign.
I would love to talk about it. So that is definitely part of our mission. So this is the Touching Lives for the Better we just talked about. We've run Independence from Hunger for 10 years. This is our 10th year. And the last year we raised a little over 2 million for the year. And this year we doubled it, which we are so grateful to our shoppers and to all of our suppliers that contribute and everyone in the, this is a huge lift for us. So we decided 10 years ago that, hunger is a serious issue and it really affects a lot of our shoppers. And when you think about kids in school, everyone assumes that it's around holidays that there's like a real need at the food bank. But the reality is the school system provides lunches and meals to kids that often is the only meal that they get. And so July, the food banks are just absolutely empty. There's nothing on the shelves. And so we decided 10 years ago that would be the time we would lean in. And that's when we run our campaign and we raise money and we collect food. And what's great about Independence from Hunger is it's directly connected to the local communities. So a lot of the food banks that benefit from this campaign are the really small, often overlooked pantries and churches and food banks and Boys and Girls Club, things that really could use the help that aren't part of a national system oftentimes. And so it was amazing that we raised 3 million within the store from the shoppers, and then Grocery Outlet matched up to 1 million. That also went directly into the local food banks. And so it's been a great year. We've raised $11 million in 10 years. And that's all through the generosity of our shoppers, suppliers, and partners. It's amazing.
Well, Layla, thanks so much for joining us. Great insight, great job. Keep up the good work. Grocery Outlet in Santa Monica. And for our viewers, thank you for joining us. And as always, you can find the archives of Winsight Live on Winsight Grocery Business, CSP, Restaurant Business, and supermarketguru.com. So you know what I'm going to say. Be safe, wear a mask, and we'll see you Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific and 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for joining us.